Hello there YouTubers, so here we are today in my veranda and we're going to build a small concrete wall in order to fill in the veranda. Here I'll show you, this is the veranda which is already existing, and over here we have the bit that isn't. So we're going to close this off to make it an enclosed veranda ready for the winter, and I'm going to be using these concrete blocks which I have pre-cut already, stacked to size so that it fits together like Lego. And here's Coco come to inspect the workplace. So here we go. First we have to mix up the concrete. Actually it's cement, but there you go. So we mix this up pretty much to a porridge-like consistency. If you've never had porridge, you won't know what I mean. But it should sort of hold itself up, you know? Kind of not sloppy like mashed potato. And then again, you can have all sorts of mashed potatoes, so it just should be like this, you know? There you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a course down against the line which I placed the wood in place as to where my wall should be. Right, so just putting down the first layer of mortar cement here and making sure I'm starting with the corner brick, and this corner brick has no funny edges, it's all flat. As you can see, the next layer is cut and so on. The inside bricks have these joint pieces and the corner bricks are all flat. So the corner brick will go in here, and then each successive layer is already laid out here. I'll give you a bit of a zoom out shot here. So each consecutive layer is placed where it should be. Hello Coco. So that I can just continue with the wall exactly in place. With the first course in place, you want to make sure it's good and horizontal. I'll see if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. Let's see if you can see that. Anyway, I think the camera lacks a bit of accuracy. There we go. You don't see that. It's in the middle. So we've got a first course level, and on to the next one, already laid out. Then here is the section with the bricks cemented together as they were all cut ready. This is the final height of the wall with the carpentry going in place, the holing in the windows, and here we go from the cross strut across the door directly up to the plastic roofing. We have a cross piece across the height of the windows, and then a cross piece right at the height of the roofing. Fill that in. I'll give you the view from the outside. Right, that's the overall view from outside. And a little pulled back view of the carpentry going in from the external view. So that will be holding in my windows. And these are my two recovered windows from the replacement by double glazing. So I'm going to use these windows to cover in the end. They're 130 high, by 140 across the double window. This is the original drop-on hinge, so I've taken one off in order to get the right size to fit them in. There we go. So these are the replacement hinges I bought for this window. These hinges are probably about 40 years old, and of course they're not the right size. So this is where we just knock out the old hinge gently. There we go. And find the right one, which is a left-hand hinge for this window. Now you can see I have to take about 1 millimeter off. It's close, but not close enough. So that's all prepared. Got about a little millimeter just to take out here. There we go. There we go. Fits right in. Beautiful. A little while later, after a nice haircut, we're moving right along. Have to bring the cameraman over. So we've got the hinges in place. They've been cut in. Can you see the hinges here? Oh, there you go. There's the hinges. And we'll move right around this way. And we see the hinges here, you see? Oh, there you go. Anyway, as you can see, the putty is coming out of the window. Very contre-jour there, so we're going to go this way round. You can see here. There you go. It's a recuperated window, so I'm going to have to redo all this putty. But that's for later. Anyway, I'll show you. We've put the windows in, we put the window frame in. We've made the little holes for the locking. And as is a miracle, in do-it-yourself, it actually shuts. Yay! Next, put in place the top brace to hold the piece of corrugated plastic, which is right here. But you can't see it because it's transparent. Okay, well that is going to go right up there and fill in the top gap. That's the next piece. There we go, the plastic, corrugated plastic being fitted to the first section, all measured up with the right angle and tied in at every point with a little screw with a pre-drilled hole. Make sure pre-drill the plastic, otherwise it'll crack. Here I'm marking off the plastic with marker pen to make my angle of cut in order to fit in the sloping roof. And so far the best tool I've found to cut is this. It's a diamond blade. I tried the jigsaw, but that jumps too much. Even with a fine blade it gets hot and melt, and so far this is doing the job, so I'll work with that. So just showing you here the 3mm bit on the end of the drill, just to drill in the trough a small hole as the pilot hole. So when we put the drill in, the screw in I mean, here we go, put the screw through, getting a bit close there, screw goes in and it doesn't put any strain on the plastic, so it doesn't crack. Otherwise you screw it in tight and then it'll split and then it'll flap away and it'll be useless. So going all the way along, pilot holes at the top and at the bottom. So the second panel is in place, and as luck would have it, it's just not quite big enough for an overlap. So where there's a gap here, I'm going to have to put in another piece of wood. But there we go. Moving right along with the double window in place and closing properly, I've got another window recuperated 70 by 130, and that just about fills the gap above the doorway. Zoom out a bit so you can see. There we go. That's the window in place, and it shuts with its handle, and I'm just going to put the wood in around it so that it's got some wood to shut on and fill all the gaps. There we go. As the sun sets in the west, I put a piece of glue on my piece of wood, which is pre-cut, pre-drilled and countersunk. And seen from the inside, this is the recuperated window, which normally would be like one of these, put on its side to cover the space above the doorway. There we are. I'll show you from the outside. So it's got framing all the way around, and here we are now just putting in the edge framing along here for this part of the window. So we're going to go all the way around to make a good tight fit against the wind. A bit of glue to go with the screwing, if it'll come out, then yes. Moving right along, the next phase. Having put the wood all around the joint of the window, now I've filled in with acrylic ready for painting, and having built in the letterbox with its acrylic panel in front, and placed the wood ready for the next part, which will be here to fill in this last panel with the corrugated PVC. And preparing again all the joints with acrylic to seal everything off. The next step in this action is to take out all the old putty very carefully, because it's all stuck to the glass, but it's broken away from the wood, so it's completely useless. So I have to get rid of all the old putty, and then we'll put some new in its place. So I'm just going to go all the way around the window, take off all the old putty very carefully so as not to break the glass, and then we'll do the round of putting it all back in. I have to be careful that the sprigs holding the glass are actually still holding the glass. I don't think that is at all, no. So make sure the glass isn't going to fall out on top of my head. So I'm going to put some little sprigs back in, hold the glass in. Yeah, okay. Continuing right along, we've put in the last piece of covering plastic and put in a central strut for the large panel in the top. Fitted in the letterbox and put in some supports for plastic. We're going to fill that, and we put in the sealant in all the gaps to make it watertight before paint. Here is the view of the almost completed veranda at night. It's a bit dark down there, isn't it? But the doorway has its own light. Yes, all installed and functional, and even double locking, and yes, of course, an automatic illumination for the front door, just as you would imagine. And here's the view of the veranda in the daytime. Evidently it's Halloween. Woo. So the construction's finished for right now, sealed off, and I'll have to wait for some less miserable weather, as we have miserable weather here today, in order to do the painting. But there we go. At least we're protected from the wind or the rain in the veranda, and there we go. I'll leave it for there right now. Happy Halloween, and thanks for watching.